Mayank calls his landlord Harish and tells him that the rent was sent to him on the first of the month. Harish replies to Mayank that he has received the rent. Mayank then asks his landlord for his PAN, for which Harish asks him that why does he need his PAN. Mayank tells him that he wants to claim HRA in ITR and for that, PAN number of the landlord is required. But Harish tells him that he does not have a PAN card. Mayank gets worried on how will he claim his HRA now and insists upon his landlord's PAN. Harish outrightly denies of owning a PAN card and hangs up on Mayank. Mayank is now upset after hearing his landlord's response.
Like Mayank, lakhs of employed people who leave their homes and live on rent in other cities for jobs can claim tax exemption on the money paid on rent under the Income Tax Act, but with some conditions. When you claim HRA, at many instances the landlord does not have a PAN, and sometimes even after owning one, he refuses to give the PAN number. Can HRA be claimed even if the landlord does not have a PAN card? Maybe. Let's find out.
The condition for claiming house rent allowance, that is HRA, is that you should get HRA from the employer, that is your company. Meaning, HRA should be a part of your salary. Apart from this, the house you are living in should be on rent and not your own. The calculation of HRA exemption depends on three things. Number 1, the actual amount received as HRA. Number 2, either 50% of basic salary plus DA in metro cities or 40% of basic plus DA in non-metro cities. And finally, number 3, the amount that comes after deducting 10% of basic salary plus DA from the actual amount of rent. Tax exemption will be given on the amount which is least among these three. HRA amount is deducted from the income from salary. This way, it helps in saving tax. For tax exemption on HRA, you have to give the rent receipt and rent agreement to your company. If the annual rent is more than 1 lakh rupees, that is 8,333 rupees per month, then according to the Central Board of Direct Taxes, it is mandatory for the employee to give the PAN number of the landlord. Even if the landlord does not have a PAN, the employee can claim HRA. In such a situation, the employee has two options. First, he has to submit a declaration to the company. This declaration will be done on behalf of the landlord. In this, the name, age and other details of the landlord have to be given. Also, the landlord declares that he does not have a PAN card, after which the company accepts it.
हमें ये मालूम है कि अगर किसी भी जगह पे कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन करने के लिए जहां पैन अनिवार्य है, वहां पे अगर हमारे पास पैन नहीं है तो हम एक फॉर्म 60 होता है जिसके अंदर हम डिक्लेरेशन दे सकते हैं कि हमारी इनकम टैक्सेबल नहीं है, इसलिए हमने पैन नहीं लिया है और हम वो डिक्लेरेशन दे सकते हैं। देखिए, इस HRA के लिए ये एग्जेम्पशन अलाउबल नहीं है और कोई भी एम्प्लॉयर इस डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ फॉर्म 60 ऑफ द लैंडलॉर्ड अलाउ नहीं करेगा। अगर हाउस रेंट अलाउंस का क्लेम नहीं कर रहे हैं अपनी सैलरी के अंदर, अपने फॉर्म 16A के अंदर आपने वो क्लेम नहीं दिया या नहीं पास हुआ, तो हम सेक्शन 80G के अंदर हाउस रेंट पे करने की डिडक्शन ले सकते हैं। यहां पे एक कमी और है, ये कमी ये है कि आपको मैक्सिमम डिडक्शन जो मिलेगी यहां पे वो 60,000 रुपीज की मिलेगी, उससे ज्यादा की नहीं मिलेगी। बट एट द सेम टाइम आप क्लेम अपना फाइल कर सकते हैं अपनी रिटर्न के अंदर, HRA का भी, पर असेसमेंट के स्टेज के ऊपर आपको ये ध्यान देना पड़ेगा कि शायद वो आपको एग्जेम्पशन ना मिले। एज अ मैटर ऑफ क्लेम या एज अ मैटर ऑफ बेसिक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आप फॉर्म 60 फाइल करके अपनी मेंसरिया को पूरा कर सकते हैं, बट वो देना अलाउ करना या नहीं करना वो ऑफिसर के हाथ में।
There are also chances that the company may not accept the declaration. In such a situation, the employee can claim HRA while filing the income tax return. However, in this case, the employee may receive a scrutiny notice. This is because there will be a difference between the income reported by the company in Form 26AS and the income shown in the ITR by the employee. The income tax department may ask about this difference. The employee at that time must have rent receipt and rent agreement along with landlord's declaration.
अगर हमारा रेंट फॉर पर्सनल यूज ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी, जैसे कि हम हाउस रेंट बोलते हैं, अगर वो 50,000 रुपए महीने से ज्यादा है तो हमें एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर या अपना किरायानामा खत्म होने से पहले, किरायानामा खत्म होने के आखिरी महीने में हमें पूरे साल का कंसोलिडेटेड रेंट के ऊपर 5% टीडीएस काटना है। अगर ये हम नहीं जमा कराते हैं तो हमें इसकी बहुत सारे कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं, जैसे कि नॉन डिडक्शन ऑफ टीडीएस की आपको सबसे पहले तो डिमांड आएगी, और जो 5% टीडीएस है वो आपसे रिकवरेबल है इंस्पाइट कि आपने वो पे कर दिया है। सेकेंडली, उसका इंटरेस्ट आपको पे करना पड़ेगा जब तक आप वो जमा नहीं कराते हैं। थर्डली, टीडीएस ना काटने की पेनल्टी भी आपके ऊपर लगाई जा सकती है।
Many a times, landlords refuse to give PAN number or insist on taking rent in cash. In this case, registered rent agreement can help. Registration of rent agreement requires name of the landlord and tenant, address, period of agreement, amount of rent, ID proof including PAN card. As soon as the rent agreement is used to claim the HRA, the information about the landlord's PAN will reach the income tax department. Apart from this, the employee should pay the rent by check, net banking or UPI instead of cash.
अगर आप पेमेंट कैश में कर रहे हैं या लैंडलॉर्ड आपको बोलता है कि आप कैश में दीजिए, तो आप कैश की रसीद तो ले रहे हैं। अब किराया आप कैश में दे सकते हैं, इसमें कोई रोक नहीं है। 2 लाख रुपए तक की छूट दी गई है कि पूरे साल के अंदर अगर आपको कोई कैश की पेमेंट करनी है तो आप 2 लाख रुपए से नीचे कर सकते हैं। नंबर 1, आपको रसीद देनी होगी, पर क्योंकि यह किराया 1 लाख से बड़ा है तो आपको पैन देना अनिवार्य है। अगर आप पैन नहीं देते हैं तो हम विदाउट सैलरी सर्टिफिकेट हम क्लेम कर सकते हैं, पर उसकी अलाउ करना या नहीं अलाउ करना वो ऑफिसर के हाथ में है।
Rent agreement and the rent receipt are necessary to claim HRA. Proper rent agreement and payment through banking channel will facilitate the employee to claim HRA. Also, this income from rent will be reflected in the annual information statement AIS of the landlord. In this case, the landlord will have to pay the tax. Otherwise, it can be considered as tax evasion.
Like Mayank, if you also want to claim HRA, then keep a few things in mind. Keep a valid rent agreement. Take the rent receipt from the landlord every month. If the monthly rent is up to 3,000 rupees, then the receipt is not required. If the rent is in cash and is more than 5,000 rupees, then revenue stamp is necessary. Pay the rent by check or online instead of cash. If the annual rent is more than 1 lakh, apart from the rent receipt, talk to the landlord about PAN or declaration. Claim HRA only as much as you pay the rent, as more tax exemption can invite notice.